Okay, welcome to your first tutorial. This tutorial is going to be really long. I'm sorry, it has to be. I'm actually, to speed up things, I'm actually going to do something I absolutely hate. I'm just going to copy and paste code. I'll have it on my website. I'm so sorry. I'll explain what it is, but this is stuff that you only have to do once. Um, and it is a lot of code. Once you see why, yeah, I'm just going to get straight to it. Once you see how much code it is, you'll be like, okay, I'm kind of glad you just gave us the source code for this and explained it. So, first part, I'm actually going to do old school, creating a class. We're going to be working off of Nihi tutorials. This is Nihi Lesson01, which is what he calls creating the window. I'm just going to call it render. Um, the whole point of this class render is you will be able to copy this every single time. So I just click generated comments and make sure public static void main string args is checked and inherit abstract methods. Okay, so now the goal of this lesson is actually to create a class called render. We will always be using the render class from here out and out throughout the tutorials. I'm just going to say start at base render. Again, so we're going to be using this class always. So first thing render is going to have to do is implements. I'll event GL event listener. Now I spelled implement wrong. I'm sorry about that. MENTS. There we go. And then there we go. And we're just going to implement, and then we're going to auto generate, and I'm implementing methods, and I'm moving the main method to the bottom right now. This is for my organization. I like having it here. Okay, so now these are pre-generated methods. We're not going to be dealing with them in this tutorial. This is just GL stuff. So, that being said, there's some data we need up top. I'm going to do that right away. This is the part where I'm just pasting it in. Graphics environment, a boolean is full screen equals false. Display mode, dm underscore old, dimension, which is just part of AWT, and a point, which is again part of AWT. What this will do, this will allow us to go full screen. This will also allow us to get locations on the screen, which will allow us to place the window dead center on startup. Okay, now let's begin. I'm like I said, I'm gonna be pasting some code in automatically. I'm not gonna do that for OpenGL code. Swing code, I'm going to. You should know Swing. This stuff is Swing and AWT. I haven't even imported Java OpenGL except for GL Event Listener. So your first code you're actually gonna do is final GL2. Wait, no, final. We don't want to call GL2 yet. We want to specify what version of GL we're doing. GL profile. We're going to be using OpenGL version 2. I kind of, that's where I was going with the GL2. Profile dot get. There we go. Okay, we're using OpenGL version 2. That's what this specifies. If you want to use a different library, like 4, which is the latest, go ahead, but we don't need it. I'm doing 2 because it has the most compatibility, and the tutorials only use up to 2. Some of the more advanced stuff, like the equivalent of DirectX 11 stuff, would be GL4. So if you want to do that cool stuff for video games, go right ahead. I'm not going to, like I said. So again, let's get back to GL. There's something called capabilities. DAPABILITIES. ILITIES. Capabilities. Then I'm just going to call this capabilities, and we're Okay, there we go. Okay, so what we did, this is just, again, continuing the call to OpenGL. Now, this is the most important part. The canvas, this is whatever we draw on, whatever we do in OpenGL is going to be on the canvas. So that is, you can create a swing thing with the canvas being really small. So you can have like a standard swing with like a little part of it being OpenGL, or you can do what we're doing and having the canvas be the whole frame size. Anyways, let's get back to that. So we now have the canvas. We need to actually create a canvas. Sorry. GL canvas equals. Oh wait, give it a name. Okay. So now, TAPABILIT capabilities. Change to GL canvas. And wait, I imported the wrong one. It's the Java media.opengl.awt. You gotta make sure it's that one. Otherwise, you're gonna get an error like I do. I always fix that part up. That's why, generally, when I do this tutorial, I always use the render class. Like I have a base render class. I always do it the same way. That way I can just copy and paste it. Okay, so we now have a GL canvas. Now I'm gonna create an instance of render. Render r equals new. Generally, you want to give it a more descriptive name. I'm not really in the mood. I'm gonna redo that. Sorry. You're adding an event listener, which is why we create it, which is why render implements GL listener. GL. Now we're using, to begin with, what I'm doing is I'm having the GL canvas set the screen size, and then we're gonna have the JFrame, which is swing. That's just gonna accommodate to the size. So now this part is very important. Most tutorials forget about the this, but okay, an FPS animator controls the frames per second. So let's, you know how video games have like, you're getting 20 frames per second. Oh wait. This is how it's set. So this is what allows OpenGL to redraw. I'm gonna hand this the GL canvas. And then this is the max frames per second. So this is the maximum that it can run at, which is going to be the current frames per second, because your computer should be able to play this really fast. And then true is the last parameter. Now, if you have any question on what this is, you can always look at the JavaDoc. I mean, we have it bound and FPS animator. So this explains what it does. That's why I have JavaDoc bound. You should be looking at JavaDoc as we go along, because it will do better explanations than I will ever do. Hopefully they're not confusing. I haven't really read some of them, to be honest, because I know what they do. Final JFrame. Okay, this is old code. I'm gonna whip through this. Again, we're going off a Nihi lesson, so I'm just gonna call it Nihi. The only reason why I'm not showing you Nihi lessons are actually written in C++. I'm translating them to Java. So I'll crap. There we go. So his ideas in the way of teaching OpenGL I like. I actually learned OpenGL from Nihi in C++, and I've only started using it in Java, which is interesting, to say the least. So frame dot get content pane dot add. We're adding the canvas. Okay. Now I'm adding it to the content pane for a reason you'll see it in a second. Now normally you do frame.set default close operation. We're not doing that. We need to do something else. I created another I created anonymous class, and make sure you're importing AWT, because this is we're actually using swing. We're not using OpenGL right here. And then we're going to use public void window. Hopefully you guys have done something like this. Now we need to import window event, AWT, and then this is just going to be if this stops the FPS animator, and then we're going to do okay. That way we don't have the FPS animator running. So that's done. So now we're done. Now we need to do frame.set size, dimension, frame dot content pane dot get preferred size. This means we're asking for the GL canvas size, and we're just going to use that as the default size, which is 400 by 400. So as you can see, there's a direct correlation to the size right now. Okay, now this is the code I'm just going to copy, so it's going to be in between these two blue things. I'm doing this because this is a lot of code, and this is my code that I wrote to center the screen. So import toolkit. So what this does is it's finding dead center to the screen, and it's setting the frame at that location. So if I do frame okay, what this essentially does is it gets the graphics card, finds the display, gets the main display, it gets the size of the screen, then calculates dead center for the window, so that the dead center of the window is going to be dead center of the screen. So I'm going to run it and show you what I mean. See how when the screen popped up, see how the dead center of the application is in the dead center of the screen. Now, if I didn't have this code, it would start up here. Now, if I didn't have this part, the frame, where it's calculating the frame width in that, it would throw it right here. If I did the screen size and divided it by 2, that's why I had to do this little mathematical equation, which finds the perfect center. So that's essentially what it does. So anyways, I'll again have this stuff in the description, because it's important, not really important. I threw it in there because it will allow us to do full screen easier. So speaking of full screen, let's get to full screen. Now, first part of full screen, we need a button to control when we go into full screen. So time to add button control. Now, there are several ways of doing this. Key listeners, action listeners, all that fun stuff. I like key bindings. Most people don't use them. They either don't know how or they don't like them. But I found a way of using them in OpenGL. So what I just did is I just created a JPanel called P. Again, I'm not really creative on names. I should be, but oh well. P dot I'm going to set the size now. P dot set preferred size new new dimension, and I'm creating it dimension 0, 0, which is very small. Actually, it's so small you can't even see it. And then I'm going to do frame dot add component. Now it's going to be, we're adding P and border layout is what we're going to be doing. So BOR border dot south. Yes. Okay. By default, whenever you use frame and you're adding components, the default layout manager is border layout. So I just made a reference to border layout south. That is down here. It's north, east, south, west, center. So the canvas is on center by default. We just added this to south with the size of nothing. Well, actually, it has the size of 0, 0. It's not nothing. Nothing would be null, which would be incorrect in my stating that. So now I'm adding two things. I'm adding key bindings. Key bindings, and I'm going to put p comma frame comma r. Yes. Okay. As you can see, this is a call to a method that doesn't exist, and then I'm going to do animate or not start. Why am I making a method right now that doesn't exist? Well, because I usually forget to do this. Call right here, and I scratch my head. Why isn't this working? And yeah, so I decided to do it this way this time. Oh crap. Okay, so now we have this. Now time for the key bindings thing. We're gonna use key bindings, so that's an action map. Actually, no. Equal p dot. We need to import action map, and then we need input. I'm actually going to call this action map for consistency. Generally, I don't use one-word variables, except for the panel and render are probably going to be the only one-word variables. Oh, wait. Oh, crap. This should be input. There we go. So, yeah. I'll try and keep the variable names long and descriptive, but panel P, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. And render R. Okay, so keystroke. Anyways, now what we're doing is I'm creating keystroke and keychar event bk underscore. Okay, so Java has a cool little class. You probably used it before. That allows you to get the key thing, and I did something wrong. I didn't import it. And then this is just going to be that's the corresponding key. And then I'm just going to do it. Okay. So now we got put f1 new. I'm going to put semicolon. Wait, abstraction, or is it abstract? Abstract. Abstract. I think that's right. Okay, yep. Sorry. Always mix up which anonymous class we're doing. There we go. So action performed. This is just going to be okay. Again, we're creating another method. Frame final. Oh yeah, that should also be final. Panel doesn't need to be final. My apologies. I forgot. You passed the final frame, but you have to specify final up here too. Okay, so now we have full screen. Now it's time to write the full screen method. Full screen method is going to be interesting. I think it is. So I'm gonna actually go over this. Hopefully you've copied the center screen because we're gonna be using some of its code. If not, full. If not, is full screen. Sorry, forgot it's a question. Then we're going to do else. Okay. If it's not full screen, then we're going to do f dot. I called it frame, didn't I? I'm going to change this to f. Just for easy. There we go. F dot dispose. I said I wasn't going to do it, but I mean, this is a lot. Wait, set undecorated is going to be true. Okay, so what we're doing is we're disposing the entire screen. We're getting rid of the stuff on top, like the minimize, maximize, and then we're setting the visible back to true. So we destroyed our frame object and we recreated it without the top bar. That's what these first 3 lines of code does. So now we're also going to do set resizable. I'm going to set that to false, so you can't change the size of the screen because it's full screen. X graphic. This is a variable we made. F graphic equals f dot get size, which is a dimension. Remember, X graphic is a dimension. We're just getting the size of the screen, and we're getting the point at which it's located. That way, when we go back, when we toggle between full screen and regular mode, the screen will toggle back to its original size and its original location. Here, we're just setting the location to 0, 0 when we go full screen. That way, it doesn't look funky, so we don't have a full screen window starting at the middle and going to the side, which I gotta admit, the first time I did it, that's actually what happened. And I felt like an idiot. Okay, now we're setting the screen size. We're creating a dimension screen size and toolkit get default get screen size. Okay, so what I did is I just created a dimension called screen size. This is going to be useful for now. We're going to set the frame size. So we got the size of the screen, so we're not going to ask what full screen size we want. We're just going to get the full screen, and then eventually I'll show you how to set the resolution. But that's a little bit later. Now our programs are really basic, and setting resolution actually might lead to complications. So okay. And that's, oh wait, we have a nice boolean that we gotta set to true. Okay, so now pretty much now all we have to do is everything in the reverse order. So we call first, always call dispose first, and now we gotta do f dot set undecorated false, f dot set resizable true, unless you don't want your frame to be resizable. That's again an option. F dot set location, and we can just use point. F dot set size, dimension, X graphic, and F dot set visible true. And last part, as always, is full screen equals false. Okay, so now I'm gonna run it and see if it works. So we run the code.